Hello, everyone, and this is Debbie Henry. It's been a little bit since we've been here, but we are back. I took a little short trip, but I'm back, and this is your Hartwell Hustle, and this is where we talk about everything that makes Hartwell click and makes us interesting and makes people want to come visit and move here. So, and I bet if you were from here, you're going to learn something today that you didn't know. So stay tuned. Okay, true confession. We are talking about something today that I know absolutely nothing about. Today, we have David List. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate you being here. He owns Lake Hartwell Kayak and Delivery. And I'll bet that a lot of you didn't even know that we have a kayak company here, or a company here when your friends visit that they could rent kayaks. So today we're going to learn all about his business and how you can get in touch with him afterwards. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And who is David List?
I'm a local.
Okay.
I've lived in Hartwell since 2017.
Okay.
But always in the area. Either grew up in Elberton, which I don't claim if I can help it. I've lived in Madison County, in Franklin County, in Royston, just always around.
Okay.
But now I'm in Hartwell.
Okay.
I've got a degree in computer information.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've worked in IT before.
So I'm not going to let you forget that. We're going to talk about how you transitioned from there into kayak.
Into here, yes.
Yeah.
Probably a decent story, possibly, maybe. Yeah, I worked in IT for a while, I guess 10 years or so I worked in IT. And then I wanted to go outside.
Okay.
And I was tired of working 45 or 50 or so on hours and getting home with no energy and nothing to offer the family.
Right.
So, yeah, then I kind of transitioned. I also, I play some music now and then. I play at a church in Royston Baptist Church.
Okay.
I also play in the bar field establishments around here,
yeah.
which includes the brewery, the boathouse, now the station. We've graced that stage. That's a rock band. That's a different band than what we play at church.
Okay.
Two conflicting bands almost, one might say.
Okay.
Also, I like being, I guess there are some conflicting interests here and there. I like being outside, playing on four-wheelers and kayaking, but I also like playing video games inside and writing fiction, fantasy fiction.
So what made you say to yourself, okay, I am ready to start a kayak business?
I would say it started as a means of getting out of the 9 to 5 every single day grind that I was in. My wife and I had talked about it for a couple of years, just looking for options on how to change my occupation so that I'd be able to spend more time with the kids while they're growing up, instead of just getting home with the whole how is school, fine, do your homework, okay, and so on. And so then one day we were kayaking at Lake 𝗬𝗶𝘀𝗋𝗶, or Lake 𝗕𝗂𝗂𝗃. I always get them mixed up. We were up on Lake 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗃 kayaking. We had rented some kayaks, just she and I, and we were on the water kayaking and stuff. And she saw this truck nearby with a full wrap, and it was regarding renting and delivering kayaks.
And that's what the R&D is for, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered what.
Also, I just liked having rad.
Okay. Yeah.
But she was like, well, there must be some money in it if they've got their truck wrapped. This isn't just a fleeting thing for them. And so then we started thinking, hey, if you wanted to go kayaking on Lake Hartwell, the easiest way to go about it would be to go somewhere local, probably Walmart, buy a kayak, probably a cheap one, probably a bad one, figure out how to stick it to your car, go to a public location. There's plenty of them in town. Obviously buy life jackets, buy paddles, buy all these things, get to the lake. And then when you're done, you just take that kayak to your house and stick it in the yard, and there it sits.
Right.
There should be an easier way.
And I think there are a lot of people who've done that.
Oh, for sure. I was one. I had a kayak. We had a kayak that would sit in my yard until it changed color.
Okay.
And all the sea, everything had dry rotted. Squirrels had chewed holes in it, and things were living inside it. And again, we were like, there's a better way than this. Clearly, renting and delivering.
And how long have you been doing this?
2021.
Okay. Okay. So.
And so my truck, locals have probably seen my truck in town because I do everything in it. I get the kids, I go shopping, I get whatever I do, get gas.
Good.
That truck is everywhere.
Good.
Even in the wintertime when there's no kayaks anywhere near it.
Okay. So let's talk about kayaks. Again, which I know nothing about. If I were going to Walmart, I would say, I like that color. I like that size maybe. So I imagine you guys do an education to people when they come to rent a kayak on which ones. I mean, I imagine you have a lot of different ones. I don't know. Tell me.
We have some varieties, not a ton of varieties. Ours are and kayaks do come in all sizes and shapes, and they're all can be for different purposes. Where there's whitewater raft or whitewater kayaks down a river, or flat, or racing kayaks or this or that. Sit-ins versus sit on tops. Ours are all sit on top.
Now, you mean sit on top of the boat?
Yeah, versus climb down inside.
Okay.
And each has an advantage.
Okay.
On a river, you can do cooler tricks with a sit inside.
Okay.
On any body of water, you can stay drier with a sit inside.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more complicated to get into and out of.
So if you flip over,
there's tricks to do.
Yeah.
And I've flipped over in a sit-in kayak before with the skirt attached, which essentially locks you in place. And I panicked a little. My buddy was with me, and he'd given me very nice instructions what to do if you flip. And if you flip and you're held underwater, instructions kind of go out the window. And I scrambled on roots until I hauled myself out of the water. And that's actually the last time I ever got into a sit-in kayak.
Okay.
But the sit on tops, they just seem simpler. And we're trying to keep everything as simple as possible.
Good.
And so you just sit down and then you stand up when you're done. You can pull up on a beach, get out. If you're able to, you can be sitting in the middle of the lake, hop off, go for a swim, then pull yourself back up on top. Life jacket helps with that, I'm sure.
Okay.
But yeah, so regarding the various type, ours are sit on top. They're not trick kayaks. They're light enough to where a person can haul them, here or there if they need to, and then sturdy enough to where most anybody can ride on them.
So when someone rents a kayak from your business, walk me through, do you meet them at the lake? Do they come to your place and they ride? How does that work?
So our slogan is, not that we really have it listed anywhere, but it's get to the lake, we'll do the rest. So if you tell me, if you wanted to rent a kayak, you would either do it on the website or by calling me or texting me, and we would arrange it. And typically the folks that aren't at a fixed location, like a residence or a campsite, it is going to be a day trip, probably what we call a day trip, which is our shortest rental, and it covers pretty much any time from sun up to sundown. You can keep it all day, you can keep it for a couple hours, whatever.
Okay.
We arrange a time or a place where we'll meet. It can be as early as 9 a.m. and then pickup can be as late as around sunset. And I offer some local places that are our favorites, probably topmost being Big Oak Recreation Area, right there above the dam.
Yeah.
Because you got the views of the dam, you got plenty of parking, there's bathrooms, there's picnic locations. Also, there's a little island out there right off that boat ramp. Most people look at all their life and they never set foot on.
Right.
When you get in a kayak, it's 5 minutes away, and now you can walk all over it.
Right.
We tell them to watch out in the springtime because it's Goose Island right now, and geese own that place. And if you come anywhere near the island, they'll honk at you from any direction.
So when someone calls you to set up a tour, do you tell them those kinds of things? I mean, do you say?
Most people who call or contact us have at least some amount of information.
Okay.
Whether it's they already have kayaked before or they know the area. But there are the people who do call it, and it's rare, but there are people who call in, they don't know anything. And so yes, we offer, again, that's a great place for beginners.
Okay.
Because even with a 5-minute paddle, you can go to this island out here, you can kind of cross some amount of lake and check out the island. We have other places, right down the street beyond the dam, there's a place on the left called 𝗪𝗏𝗏, South Carolina Outlook. It too is close to a couple of bodies, or a couple of islands, a little farther, probably 15-minute paddle. Those would be a step up beyond beginner, we would recommend. But any of the parks, Watts-Sadler, I think they have a public lake access. There is Long Point.
So there's a lot of places around here.
There's a ton of places, yeah.
So since I don't know about these things, you mentioned the parks, and so people could take their picnic and have a picnic. But let's just say I want to go over to one of the islands and have a meal or take a picnic. Are those kayaks big enough to carry that? They are?
They are. And depending on the time of year and how much gear you're planning on bringing with you, we might suggest a canoe, which is, we also offer canoes.
Oh, okay.
And those are good for wintertime because you stay dry. And they're also good for camping because, again, you stay dry and you can haul a ton of stuff in those. You can camp on any island also. I don't know exactly, don't quote me on this, but common knowledge, since I've been doing this since 2021, every single person I've talked to, it's legal to camp. You know, you want to clean up after yourself. Don't leave a mess. Don't burn an island down.
Right.
But you can camp on pretty much any island.
Okay.
So people rent from me and they go to different islands, including, there's a place up north called Cemetery Island, where apparently it's all that's left of. When Lake Hartwell was made, they kind of had to move some graves up to the top of this rise, and now that rise is an island. It's kind of a dog bone shaped island, with this one area being populated by very, very old graves. Okay. People camp out there. I've heard, people have told me a lot of things about the ghosts and how haunted the island is. Yeah. I've never ridden on a canoe or a kayak out to an island and camped, and I've always wanted to. I just haven't made it happen. Yeah. I need some more, I guess, primitive buddies. Right. All my camping friends like electricity and running water.
You mean your wife doesn't like to go over there?
We've been on a boat, not on a kayak.
So you have kayaks and you have canoes.
Yes, and we also have double-seater kayaks, so two-seater kayaks. Okay. This is good if you have a small child or if you just want to share the load. Okay. Or if somebody has, and we've had this before, somebody might have a wrist issue or arm or a shoulder and they don't want to paddle so much, they can't take their own. So they have somebody sit in the back and he's essentially the muscle, and then they can sightsee for free. They can be a little princess. Nice. This was one of our last guests, what she said she was. We also have stand-up paddle boards. So which are very cool. I'm learning
all kinds of things. Wow. So let's just say you've got children and you want to do this for a family event. Do they get their own? I mean, if they're a little bit older, and then what are some of the safety? Let's talk about safety. Do you require that they wear life jackets?
We strongly recommend. We can't make them. We strongly they have to have a life jacket for everybody on the craft that they're on. Okay. And we do strongly recommend. Okay. Because even the most confident people, accidents can happen to anyone. Right. The kid, that'll be up to the kid's proficiency level, whether they get their own kayak. Okay. Our 13-year-old now, I guess he was 8 or 9, maybe 10, when he was paddling his own kayak. And so they're not hard to operate by yourself if you're a kid. But again, it's each individual's preference. So someone might put their kid on their lap with them if it's a small enough kid, or they might get a tandem kayak and put the kid up front. With a canoe, you can kind of pile kids wherever on those. Right. There's a weight limit of, I think, something like 750 or 800 pounds on our canoes, and kind of the sky's the limit however you want to fill it up. Our life vest, we do offer life vests for adults and kids. The adults are 90 pounds and up, and the kids go down to 40 pounds. So if it's somebody smaller than that, you'd need to have, like an infant, whatever that looks like. Right. They'd have to supply their own.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about your policy for renting. I call you up and I rent. Do I go ahead and prepay?
Yeah. Payment before the kayak leaves the yard. And as cold as that sounds, that's kind of...
No, I get it. But what happens if it rains?
So we do have a cancellation policy. Okay. And the way I see it, people have access, they have the same access to the weather that I have. So if they want to cancel before, it's free. But if it's within 48 hours, we'll do our best to make it free. But if because of a rental, we have had to do something else to prevent other rentals or to prevent something else with scheduling, right, there is a $50 cancellation fee within 2 days. Right. I've never charged anybody that. Knock on wood. I don't want to. If I can avoid it, I don't. Yeah. Because things happen.
And then do groups come? You ever have groups?
We've had huge groups. Yeah, and we try to do better as far as the rates go. In fact, the more nights you keep the boat, And the more boats you rent, the better the rate per boat is going to be. So
Okay.
one boat for a day, if you're outside of Hartwell, is going to have a delivery fee. If you're inside of Hartwell, a boat for a day, or any number of boats, there's no delivery fee. But if you're outside, if you're in Townville, Fairplay, Anderson, anything else, I think there's 10 towns, by the way, that surround us, there's a $30 delivery. Any overnight plus package, there's no delivery fee. And then with each added day, and I don't remember all the math of it, and I won't bore you with these details. I got an Excel sheet somewhere that keeps up with all that. But each added day takes the price down a little.
Okay.
And if you're getting 2 to 4 boats, we take 10% off the total price. If you get 5+ boats, watercraft of any sort, we take 20% off.
Okay.
But we've had groups of up to 10 or 15 people before, and we do better. We do better with the discount.
Okay.
If we can.
Now, what if it's, can I request a guided tour?
We are still working out logistics on guided tours. We started last year, and we did a couple of them, and we had some takers. It is, we're a very small business, myself and my wife, and I bother her as little as I can. I do bother the kids when I can get them out of the house. I will make them work, and I will buy them a snack, and that's their payment. But short answer, I would like to have more staff to be able to do guided tours. And for that to happen, I'd have to know there's interest and there's takers. And I've heard lots and lots of interest over the years. But when we attempted a couple last year, the bites were kind of, it didn't blow up immediately. So these are things that we're working out.
Okay.
And I'd love to, because there's some areas around here that people should see. And some of them are nearby, but not necessarily on Lake Hartwell. Lake Russell, kind of right below the dam. Lake Russell, there's a couple of areas, including Indian Rock, which is, I don't want to give too many details on it, but it's just a cool place. It's a very short paddle across very flat water, and then you get to a place that Indians used to apparently grind corn on and things like this, just in the middle of the woods.
Oh, really?
Can't even get it, unless you hike through 5 miles of woods, you can't get to it, or kayak, you can't get to it.
So how did you learn about all that? I mean, just by continuing to do it, or, I mean?
Growing up around here, one of my, like I said, I like being outside. I go off, you could get away with it when you're younger. I used to go off in the woods in any direction, time or day or not, wherever. I explored the woods.
Okay.
And so I'd meet up with people who explored the woods. And I'd meet up with local adventurers. And I don't remember how we found out about Indian Rock, but it's just one of a bunch of places we found growing up in this area, in the woods.
Okay. Has anybody ever wanted to bring their pet?
They do, yeah.
Oh, really?
In fact, I think people have piled pets on pretty much every boat that we have. If we have an official policy, it is please don't put them on the paddle boards, because paddle boards have a nice, comfy layer that dog claws rip to shreds.
Oh.
Kayaks and canoes, it's fine. But as long as your dog doesn't make everybody flip off and sink or anything like that, it's fine. But the paddle boards, we try to keep pets off of.
Okay. So it sounds to me like I call up, I tell you where I would like to go, or I ask you your opinion. Where
and I would say, okay, if this is your first time, we recommend Big Oak Rec, and I will meet you in that parking lot at a time of your choosing. You might say, okay, at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And so I'd show up there with kayaks for you and whomever you're with, and then I do give people a bit of a pointer or some pointers as far as what you'll. It's so intuitive. Once you've put a paddle in the water, you kind of have it figured out. Yeah. Or at least in my experience showing people. So we put them in the water, and I make sure that certain things they understand, no sudden movements. You don't want to jerk around. Don't try to stand up. Okay. You can, but beginners might not, would want to. Yeah. But for the most part, it's very straightforward. It's like walking, sort of, just left, right, left, right. Yeah. And then to go, you push to go backwards, and then keep that life jacket tight. Otherwise, also, a thing we recommend to anybody, beginner or otherwise, there are some little compartments in the kayaks for you to put your stuff. And even if they are dry, when I deliver this kayak, they might not necessarily be dry. So we tell people, if they can, bring dry bags, bring dry containers. Not unlike, I brought a display. Okay. Not that we don't really offer products, right? But a dry bag not unlike this. And that way, you could toss this in a lake and pull it out, and it would,
Oh, really?
Your keys would still be dry.
Okay. Okay.
By the way, I have gifts for you in here.
For me?
I do.
Gifts for me?
Yeah, I do. If you're ready to see them, I would.
I'm always ready to see a gift. I'm always ready for surprises.
Listen, I brought a shirt. I brought it.
Y'all, this is exciting.
It's one of these shirts.
So I get a rad shirt, y'all.
Yes, yes.
A rad shirt.
I have green or blue. And I brought different sizes. And you can tell me after this if you want to tell me after what size you would prefer.
Okay.
That's fine with me. I brought a hat. I don't know if you wear hats.
Well, I do, but I might have to share something with Wes because Wes is,
I got a shirt.
The one that makes all this
I
happen.
got a shirt. Wes, I got a shirt for you too.
Oh, nice.
That is a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 hat. I got this. This one's mine. You don't want that. It's
nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
I got to put this on. I got to see this.
Oh yeah. So I could have.
Yeah.
It's got all the bells and whistles all over
This
it
is
still.
so nice. Look here. Yeah, you're going to see me around town sporting this hat.
It almost matches your top there.
I know. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
that. I appreciate that. So much.
We got a bunch of shirts and things, but these came from Southern G's or with Southern traditions. Yeah,
local.
G's Southern tradition.
See, guys, this is a local business. They support local.
We try.
And so let's talk local. We have a lot of Airbnbs and VRBOs. Would this be something that someone could put the information or should put the information in their homes and advertise that?
We would love that. We would so appreciate that. And a lot of people who have these rental homes for vacationers, they offer kayaks.
Mm-hmm. You know what? You're right. They do. And
by year 2, the majority, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but the majority of them don't seem to want to upkeep, properly store, clean their kayaks, or even keep up with them.
Okay.
And so sometimes we've had guests show up or they'll call and they'll be like, yeah, the owner said they have kayaks. Turns out it's a 4-foot, kayak meant for children and it's dry rotted.
Okay.
And so they've called me. Yes, our vacation home renters are probably our biggest client, or our biggest people who call our number.
Well, and we had Lake Life Concierge on here a few weeks ago. And she goes to all these B&Bs, so we need to be sure and let Sharon Swint.
I need to hook up with her. Yes,
that's right.
I need
That's
to get
right.
with her.
Yeah, there are a lot of those around here.
Yes. Oh, there are. And then and I sometimes if I'm at a place, a couple years ago I tried to brainstorm a way for us to scratch each other's back. And if I go to a place that I know they are willing for me to do this, I take every time I drop off a boat, I take pictures and I post it on our social media. If I know it's a renter, I also try to shout them out and say this place on wherever, or on Airbnb, it's called whatever the name of it's called, and I showcase some of the things that I'm seeing.
Okay.
Otherwise, I try not to take a picture of somebody's house or neighborhood, just to seem privacy. But if I have permission, if I know who the owner is and they're cool with it, then I try to take some flattering pictures of their chill area out back or wherever.
Okay. Wow. I have learned a lot. Y'all, this is a good guy. He's local. His business is local. He uses local businesses here to support his business. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And that's what Hartwell Hustle is all about. So, David, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And we're going to put his information up. And even if you don't kayak, I mean, I don't know. You might see me one day. Might not, but you might. I don't know. But pass the word and let people know, because this is a great opportunity for guests and for locals. And we're just glad you're here.
Thank you. I have another gift for you too.
Another one?
I do, yes. As I mentioned, the music, the music we play in the local, here in town, is it's rock. It's kind of hard rock, and this is a CD that my band developed, I guess, around 10 years ago or so.
Something once sacred.
So. If you see
SOS?
SOS.
You're SOS?
Yes, yeah.
No way. I know who you are. Now, if you'd have said that, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, so we play the Boathouse.
I'm excited. Look at what I've got.
We're kind of exclusively a bar-field band at this point. Like as I mentioned,
yes.
We play the Boathouse, we play at the brewery, and we don't play a lot of originals anymore. We play music that people know.
I know exactly who you are now. I'm excited about this.
There you go.
I'm excited. That's great. Thank you so much for
You're
that.
welcome.
And then you're also a writer.
Yes, I am. And
Right?
this is more of a display because
Okay.
this is a niche kind of thing.
Let me see that.
Fantasy fiction, especially violent fantasy fiction, especially when it's
Look here.
as long as it's 285,000 words, which is about almost 3 times as long as the first Harry Potter book.
This is your name. So you wrote
Yeah,
this.
I did. I published it too.
Wow. That's awesome. When did you do that?
That came out August 2023, and it's the first in a 2-book series, and the second book I'm writing right now. I'm slowing down on the writing because kayaks are picking up.
Tell us what this is about real quickly.
It's about an escaped gladiator who is being hunted and chased, and that's her on the front. She's holding 2 javelins.
Okay.
And it's about a monk who is a failed monk, and he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, so he starts getting wild ideas, and then he starts discovering bad things about the rest of the monks. And so these 2 unlikely individuals are running from their respective nations, and eventually maybe they'll meet up.
Wow. Well, yeah, don't want to tell us too much about it. We don't want to know about the end. Well, you are a man of many talents.
I try.
Many, many talents. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to meet you, and I'm so happy to learn about your business. And I wish you nothing but good in your
Thank you.
business. And I really appreciate you.
Same to
doing the
you.
show. Thank you. This has been your Heart Will Hustle. I appreciate you tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.